early game pressure as well.
We are definitely going to see if those two players are a little bit aggressive in this game. I would actually love it. At the bottom left of the map, we have in the blue color our Protoss player. It is Whitera. Well, the first Protoss player, that is. Grandpa Toss, and he is up against the Korean superheroes. He is up against none other than evil geniuses, JYP, starting in the red color to the top right of the map. And we have our PvP, the first map in this best of 3 series. And joining me is this time not Mr. Bitter, who is currently just having a subway, I think. I don't know. No, I'm joined by none other than Khaldor, caster for Mousesports from the UK, living in Finland. How you doing?
Pretty well, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be casting this. Now, on this map, Daybreak, just in general, PvP is a bit of a different beast, as it were. A lot of the times on this map pool specifically, Cloud Kingdoms, the Cohort compounds and things like that, there's a lot of room in the back of your bases to be able to start that blink aggression if you do want to go for that 3-gate Twilight Council aggression early on. But because the mains on Daybreak are structured as they are, blink aggression is very, very difficult to pull off. You only really have this small cliff next to your ramp to be able to really kind of press that on. So this is why on Daybreak in PvP especially, you're going to be seeing potentially bigger kind of 2-base plays.
We've seen a couple of PvPs today already, especially the game between Titan and Velmu comes to mind, and this also evolved around 2-base plays for both players. It was actually kind of interesting to see, and a lot of very, very smart decision making in both games. I would really love to see a long game between Whitera and JYP. It's just kind of epic to cast these two players now, and well, Whitera is probably one of the most well-known foreign Protoss players, that is. There's always Naniwa, but Naniwa living in Korea right now, it doesn't play all that much on the European server, mostly on foreign tournaments, like the huge tournaments like Assembly MLG, whatever. So yeah, it's kind of nice to see how Whitera is going to fare against the Koreans. So far, most of the events, Koreans have been really, really dominant, and for good reason. Do you think that Whitera can hold a candle to JYP's mirror match?
I don't know. Actually, now that I come back to it, and as we look at JYP's base, he's obviously going for what looks like a 3-star rush at the moment, due to the second gateway going down at that particular time. But JYP, now that I was saying that it was on, you know, maybe predominantly a 2-base game that we're going to see, JYP's PvP can be like relentlessly aggressive sometimes, and you've got obviously Whitera, the Ukrainian star, who can kind of, sometimes, I mean, he brings out builds that don't necessarily crush like traditional aggression. They can be a bit wacky, they can be a bit weird sometimes, but you know, it is Whitera, he is going to be able to bring out something that obviously is going to be able to dazzle us.
We have the Twilight Council being built for JYP now, so he is going for the Blinkstalk aggression that we expect him to go. And it's kind of funny that we just had the 2 Finnish players. We had Elfie and, well, Velmu just walking past, and both of them, oh look, just stepped there for a quick look. Elfie apparently is going to play very, very late. Velmu is still not out of his group just yet. It's just so intense at this tournament. We have so many good players, and most of the groups are really, really stacked. Whitera is now going for the robotics, so, well, if he's able to get enough immortals to counter the stalker count of his opponent, and JYP blinks up this ramp, this could be definitely a huge blow. But we only have 2 gates so far for JYP, so everything's unfolding right now. We have just the 2 build orders just starting a little bit, and I'm really excited that we have at least 2 different builds. This is something that in the mirror matches sometimes really a little bit odd when you have exactly the same builds and it all comes down to micro. But this is going to be pretty interesting to watch.
Well, this is actually a really interesting deviation that we're actually seeing JYP go for. Normally, when you actually do get these 2 gateways, you're going for that first off the first one, and then 2 very, very quickly off the 2 gateways. However, he actually went for the 2 in secondary and third stalkers after the Twilight Council, so getting that blink out very much so quicker than you would normally see from this 3-gate rush style. I mean, stalker rush style.
And that also means that he obviously has a little bit less stalkers than he usually would have, and Whitera is already going for the first immortal. So I'm not 100% sure if JYP is really able to put all this pressure onto his opponent that he is planning on doing right now. Oh, Whitera with the expansion now.
That is ballsy. It does look like we have the Immortals that will be out in time to be able to potentially counter this blink play, but he's going to get aggressive with this. Maybe he will be able to catch a lone stalk. No, just barely gets away for now, and will be forced to retreat with those force fields.
Hydra not losing a single Stalker just yet. The Stalker count is 7-3 in favor of JYP, but there's the Immortal in the back. And JYP is backing off now with a blink. Hydra didn't even have to cancel his Nexus just yet. Very, very interesting. Well done by Hydra. And JYP, well, he has blink now, but what can he actually do with it?
Well, I like JYP's decision-making during that kind of little trial that he had there. Not blinking in to focus down that Immortal because his Stalker count was way too low to be able to go for something like that. The Immortal would have been able to do quite a bit of damage before it would have actually fallen. But now with the second Immortal here and the expansion going up, I feel YRAR is in a very hefty lead already.
Yeah, he definitely is. He is about to complete his Nexus, his second base, and at the same time, JYP just couldn't do any damage at all with his Blink Stalk as he's trying to go in from the side once again, but Hydra still, ooh, he's ready, but the Immortals are not fast enough to take down one of the Stalkers. The third Immortal being built now, and Hydra already on 2 base, centering 2 mineral lines and producing double probes.
Normally when you actually see Blink play on this map, Khaldor, it generally is kind of for a containment style, you know, making sure your opponent isn't going to get too aggressive. But YRAR right now has been able to get his expansion up, and he's playing a very, very defensive style. And for JYP, that is to his downfall. And with his Immortal, oh my good god, 3 Immortals already out. There's literally nothing JYP can do other than play from behind.
It's not only about the Immortals, he also has those sentries for the Guardian Shield. Oh, but he has to be careful losing a sentry like that. This is definitely a misstep by Hydra. He should have controlled his units a little bit better.
Oh, especially since that sentry was almost full energy. That's a good 3 or 4 force fields right down there. And we do have the Robo going down for JYP, so he's going to be transitioning into what some would consider a more standard PvP. But where does he go? Does he go for the bigger Immortal style, or does he go straight to Colossus? Now, we see, you know, other Protosses going for a big Immortal style, trying to catch their opponent out if they're actually going to go for Colossus. But right now, YRAR has such a great, like, substitutive army here to be able to kind of help his Colossus once they do come along. He can't blink in necessarily.
Yeah, exactly.
Once the Colossus get added.
You're perfectly right about it. The main reason when you go for Colossi and your opponent has Blink Stalkers, what you usually want to do is just make sure that you approach as soon as he has like 1 or 2 Colossi, blink in, snipe them, and then you're in a decent position. But that's something that JYP just can't do. He can't blink into 3 Immortals and, well, think he's going to come out the victor. So we have now JYP with the transition into Colossi as well, but everything that he does is just so much slower. It just happens a couple of seconds later, and Hydra already now researching extended thermal lands while JYP is just building the robotics bay.
Not only that, Khaldor, I love what YRAR is doing right now. I think he realizes that he's in the lead ever so slightly because of the fact that he did get this Nexus up a little quicker, and he does know about his opponent's Nexus, but he's going for the upgrades, and this is kind of a bit more of a new style PvP that we're seeing, kind of, you know, that we saw from ASUS in the NASL, for example, crushing Hook. Going for these upgrades is going to be a huge, huge deciding factor when they actually come together.
We had that same situation with Titan against Velma and worked out so well for the Finnish player. Here we go again. I like that JYP is just trying to apply much pressure, and he was able to snipe a sentry, was able to snipe a stalker, just a couple of units. Still, he is behind, but I really like that he is making sure that Hydra is playing very defensive. But if Hydra times his attack well, waits for the upgrades, and then just makes sure that he is able to get onto get the initiative in the game, I think he will be in a very, very good position.
Right now we have JYP actually going for that Templar Archives, and sometimes I think on 2 base with JYP doing what he's doing, I think he might be spreading his tech a little bit too thin, whereas YRAR is currently just kind of powering out those Colossus as best he can do. And at this point, unless JYP actually gets down a second Robo, for example, YRAR throws down a second Robo, you know, he's going to be behind in Colossus for a long time, and that can be huge in the late game.
Exactly, so we have the second Robo now for Hydra and not for JYP. We have extended thermal lands done. The Colossus count is 2-1. Hydra still not moving out, but he has a couple of units now trying to chase down his opponent's Stalkers, and JYP, he can't engage with them. The 3rd base goes up for Hydra. He tries to establish a 3rd base now and chases off JYP's Blink Stalkers.
Oh, YRAR's decision-making just without, you know, the amount of visibility of the pretty much most of the map. It was fantastic there, just chasing off those Blink Stalkers with half of his army, leaving the rest of his force up at the top of the ramp into his natural, just so in case those Blink Stalkers would have gone up, they would have been slaughtered. Fantastic.
We now have Charge being researched. We have +2 attack already on its way. JYP counters with the Forge on his own. But he is still behind. He's behind in upgrades, he is behind in army, he is behind in economy as White-Ra's third base is about to be finished. We have a War Prison now for White-Ra. Interesting. Looks like he tries to get a little bit aggressive to kill a couple of the units of his opponent, and one of the observers got sniped.
Yeah, indeed, we will be seeing some Warp Prism action from White-Ra now. Is he going to be using that to drop into the main, this Protoss army that we have from both players? Despite Blink, you know, this is a big map. Being able to drop into your opponent's mineral line while his Stalkers are just kind of bouncing around here, there, and everywhere in the middle of the map could be fantastic.
But hold that thought, the Warp Prism might actually be scouted by the pilot. No, it's not. He is able to dodge the pilot. Is he? Ooh, no! Has been scouted. He knows about it though, and is retreating right away. How is JYP going to react? Immediately he heads back to his main base with the Stalkers. A little bit of a misstep attacking the rocks. He wants to blink in, and that's what he does. But White-Ra, he's not sending the Warp Prism in there. He knows fully well that he can't, just risk the Warp Prism dying. And he's on 3 bases now, going for a Starport as well. And we have double Colossi. White-Ra is just looking so good now. JYP, once again, also with a third, but way too late. Oh! The Warp Prism dies after all.
That was a pretty big blow, but I think White-Ra is still going to be quite far ahead thanks to the fact that he has this great Colossus count. The only question right now is JYP going to commit to a few more Archons in this composition in order to be able to really tear apart the Zealot count of his opponent? Because if you can kill off the Zealots, you can kind of take away the majority of the meat shields for these Colossus, and you might be able to get a little bit of a better position on your opponent.
Killeris, take a quick look at the Harvester count, 67 to 49. Such a huge lead in a mirror match. White-Ra now with the Fleet Beacon, obviously. He wants to go for the Mothership. Special tactics incoming. This game is... We haven't seen a lot of aggression, but this game is just really nice. It is so many strategies and metagame going on right now. I love it.
Yeah, indeed, with his third up and only just getting his third up at home for JYP now. I mean, White-Ra has been... This is actually the best PvP so far that I have ever seen White-Ra play. He is playing phenomenally, every single decision making, keeping on top of his macro. And with JYP moving out right now, his Colossus count is still really low, and he's even a deficit in terms of Immortals, so I don't see him doing anything with this.
White-Ra with a 4th base now. He's going for the 4th base. He's building the Mothership. Both of them are roughly at 190 supply, +3 attack upgrade, about halfway done for White-Ra. JYP is finishing the 2nd attack upgrade, and this is just insane. Splitting the army is JYP, Blink Stalkers on their way. At the same time, the main army is at the bottom. The count for the Colossi is a 9 to 6 in favor of White-Ra. The Mothership is roughly done to 1/3. We have a 4th base being built. This game is just insane. This is just ridiculous to see how those two players are just circling around each other. Every one of them trying to wait for the chance to deliver the first blow.
Oh, Khaldor, White-Ra has this timed out almost perfectly. He's going to have his +3 just before his Mothership actually comes into play. And if he's, I mean, what JYP's +3 is miles away. So if he actually goes for an engagement with Vortex as well, I mean, obviously he needs a little bit of time to accumulate energy for that Vortex. But if he can just zone out half of his opponent's army and force JYP to make the decision to either jump his entire force into there, it looks like we have a bit of Blink play at the north here. Might be able to get this Nexus.
And the Stalkers for White-Ra though, +3 is done. Taking down one of the Stalkers of his opponent, and here comes the War Prism and the Mothership at the same time. He's trying to flank now with his army, needs to be careful though. A couple of units are out of position. JYP is going for it, Guardian Shield goes down. A lot of Zealots for JYP, 23 against 11. White-Ra with another round of Warp-ins, both of them roughly at 200 supply now. The Blink Stalkers in the top left trying to take on the Nexus, the 4th base, and JYP is expanding on his own, taking another Nexus at the bottom right.
Wow, I mean, White-Ra's 4th has been up for quite a while, but he actually goes down to 3 Stalkers just getting in there very nicely. So So now JYP will have, you know, a kind of even economy to his opponent. But again, with this
mothership
count, it's just going to be so ridiculously difficult for JYP to engage.
At the bottom right, we have the Warp Prism warping in. Some units trying to deny the fourth base. Hydra has 3,000 minerals banked up, ladies and gentlemen. 1,300 gas, both of them on 200 supply. Hydra now moving in with +3 attack, +1 armor stun very, very soon. JYP trying to get the starport for the mothership, and here comes Hydra waiting for his mothership. Going in, we have Guardian Shield everywhere. Colossal fight, no detection for JYP. He's losing so many units. Hydra is a little bit ahead in supply now, but this is just insane. This is incredible.
White has energy for that Vortex Khaldor, and if that can come into play, I am very, very scared for JYP right now. And he is nowhere near his mothership. He's only just started his Stargate, so he is going to have to build the fleet beacon, get the mothership out in time, and this base is toast.
This base is toast indeed. Khaldor has no chance of defending against this army, and it will take years for JYP to complete a mothership on his own. We have now at the top left still 2 Stalkers finally being killed by Hydra's Zealots. They were able to take down quite a few of Harvests, as you can see. 8 in total, 8 probes in total have been killed. Hydra is moving out with a 20 supply lead, and he is taking on this army. Whoa, Calaris, look at this. We have the mothership coming in from behind. All of the Colossi of Hydra being attacked, though both of them are just now dropping in supply. Hydra is losing a ton of units. The Vortex sucking in a couple of Colossi, but this is just incredible. JYP able to take down Hydra after all.
That was a horrible, horrible engagement for White Rat. His mothership wasn't there to be able to lay down that really, really important Vortex, and the mothership falls. White Rat could have lost this game potentially as the... Oh, that was a horrible, horrible engagement.
Look at the Colossi count. 10-2 in favor of JYP. Without a mothership, he had... White Rat, better upgrades, yet the mothership, the better army, and still with this engagement and the positioning that he chose to fight in, he is probably going to lose the game. JYP is now on fire with 163 supply. He's just going for it, trying to take down the base of White Rat, and the Ukraine player in so much trouble. JYP carries the momentum towards the 4th base of White Rat, and I don't think that White Rat is able to defend it.
I am in shock, Khaldor. I cannot believe that engagement. Having the mothership there with a Vortex would have been almost a guaranteed win for White Rat, but unfortunately now he's having to battle his way back here, but he might be able to kill quite a bit of this army.
Yeah, he does a good job with the Archons, but at the same time, JYP is still in such a huge lead. His Colossi count 9-1, and now there's just so much damage output for JYP. He has the +1 shield upgrade. He is going for the fleet beacon on his own, adding 2 bases now, and is about to kill White Rat's top left expansion. Wow, I have to give it to JYP. White Rat was looking so good, and the entire game, JYP is getting back into the match though, and he might well win the first map.
I mean, yeah, if JYP behind this is able to get a mothership out, to be able to complement these Colossus, there's literally no way that White Rat can come back here. He's dwindling at 3 Colossus to the 9 Colossus, and in PvP, that is make or break Khaldor.
White Rat is now going for the counter-attack. He was able to deny a base at the bottom right, going in for the 4th now. The Nexus might fall. There are a ton of Zealots for White Rat. He has a bunch of Colossus as well. JYP is headed back though. He wants to take on his opponent's army. He knows that he has a much stronger army than White Rat now. JYP on 105 army supply against 66. And here we go.
Looks like he will be able to clean up the rest of White Rat's army, and I feel so bad for White Rat. It was his game to win, Khaldor, and just with that one engagement, that Vortex could have been amazing in comparison to what it actually did.
JYP is now doubling the supply of his opponent. He has an incredible army, 9 Colossi to 0. The mothership for White Rat, but will he be able to change anything on the outcome of this game? We don't have the energy for Vortex. The mothership can't do anything. White Rat, GG, well played, and JYP is ahead 1-0 in the best of 3.
Khaldor, I'm a sad man.